You're listening to Beyond the Campaign, and this is episode number 6. Welcome to Beyond the Campaign. I'm your host, Michelle Glogovac, podcast publicist, author, and host of this show and Read the Damn Book. Here, you're going to learn from political candidates and from politicians. We're not just going to talk about the issues. We're going to talk about the human beings who are investing themselves in us so that we can invest ourselves in them. This is Beyond the Campaign. Hey friends, welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Michelle Glogovac, and today, coming from Orange County, California, I have Esther Kim Varet. It rhymes with carrot. She's going to let you know that. And she is running to flip a seat down in OC from young Kim. It is such a fascinating story, one that I've been following since the big bullshit bill. And that is when I first found out about Esther and what she is doing and how she moved her entire family from Los Angeles to Orange County to run for this seat. She's literally a mom saving democracy all on her own, and it's incredible. So get ready for her story. You're going to hear what she's done in her past life and currently is still doing, and how she is running this incredible campaign. Hi, Esther.
Hi, Michelle.
I'm so excited to talk to you. I've been stalking you on your Instagram. I love the flair. I love the attitude. I love the no nonsense. So I'm looking forward to today.
Well, I'm a mom. So I think moms never underestimate a mom pissed off and
Yes.
fighting for her kids, right? Like that's where you get your superpower from.
I couldn't agree more. Yes. Can you introduce yourself before we go
Yeah.
down? Because we are going to have the most incredible conversation I know.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Esther Kim Varet. My maiden name is Esther Kim. So that will become a little significant in this conversation because I'm running against an incumbent, young Kim, who is also Korean American, like myself. But she is 20 years older than me. So I jokingly call myself the younger Kim.
Okay, that's hilarious.
And so I am running for California's 40th district. For those of you that have been caught up in the redistricting conversation, I am in California. So my seat will be on the voting block on November 4th by the people of California to decide whether or not we redistrict in retaliation of Texas doing its gerrymandering thing because Trump feels like, and rightly so, he feels like he'll lose the midterms unless he cheats. And so a lot to go over. I am in the eye of the storm for both one of the most winnable seats in the nation to win back the House. I am right now the number one targeted Democrat challenger in the country by the Republicans. The NRCC has written 15 articles attacking me in the last month.
Why
Um,
you?
yeah, so
Why
it's a badge of
you?
honor.
What have you done? You're doing something right, obviously.
Well, I am. I'm like, I think I'm just like poking the bear. You know what it is? I found a weakness, right? Like I found an open gash that was ready to have salt poured on it in the Republican side, and that was young Kim. And I've been pouring salt on it and really irritating it. And also in the process raising awareness nationally about it, about the vulnerability of the seat. And so I don't know how quickly you want me to delve into what I'm doing, like why I'm
I
here.
want to do it all. And it's funny because I think that for so long, regular people, voters, didn't really know or have access to any of our representatives. Like I knew who mine was, but that was about it. And then
Yeah.
with the big bullshit bill that came around, it was okay, who in California? And we only have a handful. So it's been easy to not only identify them, but then to call them out and to just
Yeah.
rip
Yeah.
them a new one.
Yeah.
And that's how I found you.
Oh,
I was like, oh, good. We have
we're like
someone running
kindred
against us.
spirits. We're like sisters. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I am the first one who's like, I hope you enjoy looking for a new job.
Yeah.
I can't vote for you, but I will make sure that other
Yeah,
people will
no,
not.
okay. So you're doing your job right now, just getting the word out, right? Like,
Yes.
um, and so this will be a community lift, and it has to be because um the forces are against us, right? Like the Trump administration has all three branches of government, and we have no say at the table. We have no say. We have no power. Right now, our only power is mobilizing and being strategic and surgical in our flips so that we can win back the House in 2026. That is like logically speaking, um, the most kind of assured way that we can put brakes on the Trump administration. And that was the exact realization I came to after the November election. I was knocking on doors in Michigan, and I had the opportunity to go out of my little California liberal bubble and talk to so many different kinds of people because I was like, Kamala, we got this. Like I was like, this is fine. Like, who would vote for Trump? And then I went and I was like, oh my gosh, like I was talking to Orthodox Jews that were voting for Trump. I was talking to Black Christian women that were voting for Trump because of the pro-life, pro-choice issue. I was talking to Lebanese Muslims that were voting for Trump because they were told and convinced that the Israel's attack on Lebanon was Biden and Kamala's fault because they like, you know, that administration allowed them to attack, and so they were voting for Trump. And I was like, oh my God, like we're totally screwed. And we were like, I mean, I'm still not 100% positive that this was a free and fair election
Hmm.
regardless,
Hmm.
in 24. But Democrats, as good Democrats do, we accepted the results. I'm like,
As a mom, I feel like we've been taught wrong. Like, always do the right thing, be
yeah.
the bigger person, roll over, take another one. Like, yeah.
You're like, did you not see what he did in 2020? You know, it's like, uh, and I, um, basically within 48 hours, I felt such a knot in my stomach about what we were looking down the barrel of for the next 4 years. And I will say, so I spent 12 years doing a doctorate in art history in 20th and 21st century art, which is essentially, and it's Western. So it's like, it's contemporary to stuff that was happening in France from 1880, right? Which was like, um, and all of that history is tied, cultural history is always tied with political history. And you see it, right? Like when you study art from uh, the Russian Communist Party, it looks very different. If you study art in North Korea right now, it looks very different. If you look at the um, rise of the bourgeoisie of France and like that art and the concept of the avant-garde, that's all tied with a concept of capitalism and industrialization and like all this stuff. So anyways, I was like acutely aware because I spent several years teaching this stuff to freshmen at Columbia University, not in the country, but in New York. And I taught the rise and falls of democracies and how we can read those movements through the objects that people left behind or what was able to survive as objects that were left behind. And so when Trump first came into office, one of the first things he did was um, was sent literally a proclamation about how neoclassicism is the new art of America. Okay. And I knew that this would happen because even 6 months before, Ron DeSantis had cut all of the arts funding in Florida, the government, the federal arts funding, and was like, this is my war on woke. Right. So and we see it happening today still,
Right.
like the Smithsonian's being censored, like all of these exhibitions are being censored into his, Trump's vision of America. So that censorship of expression, for me, I'm very, very highly sensitive to it. And I was like, this can't head anywhere good. And I'm also the daughter of North Korean refugees. So I grew up with stories about how my grandmother escaped North Korea 9 months pregnant on foot with my dad, eating bark off of trees. It's that, communism or authoritarianism is something that isn't so far away in my family's history. And so I was like, you know what? The only thing that I can do at this particular moment that will get rid of this anger is to turn it into an action, right? We know this as moms, when we're flustered or anxious about something, sometimes just working through it is where you get the calm and where you get the order. And I was like, okay, I can't feel like this forever. And I was like, oh, and we're only 3 seats away from winning back the House. At that time, it was 3 seats. It's changed a little bit since then, but I was like, we're only 3 seats away. Out of 435, I was like, we got this. And I was like, and I'm a millennial, so I think we're the glass is half full kind of people, be like, we can fix it, instead of wanting it to all burn, which is what other generations kind of want to do. And I knew of young Kim for a long time because she and her husband, Charles Kim, has been in the Korean American community for a really long time, fundraising. And so my parents, even I would say 8 years ago, went to a young Kim fundraiser in Texas. And that's where my parents live. And so I've known about her, and I was like, I wonder how she did. And I was like, how the hell did she win by 10 points in a district where Trump only won it by 2 points? And in 2020, Biden won it by 2 points. I was like, I don't understand. And so when I say it's really my husband who is loves digging stuff on the internet. And then he just tells me I get riled up about it.
You gave him credit, so.
Yeah. But so we were and all these records are public. We were looking up, okay, how much money did this woman raise? And because I was like, how did this woman win in a purple district by that much? And so she raised kind of somewhere between $7 and $8 million. And Joe Kerr, who is a retired fireman, raised $700,000. And I was like, oh yeah, no wonder she just buried him. And Orange County's media market, I don't know if I mentioned that this seat is in Orange County. Orange County's media market is actually the LA media market as well. So it's very expensive to run ads and to run television and all of that stuff. So it takes kind of a person that has extraordinary fundraising abilities. And I then looked up that she was, got an F with End Citizens United. So, because if you go to their website, you can track all of even your current congressperson and how much dirty money they take. They have a very convenient scorecard. And so she got an F with that. And then I'm a big environmentalist. So, I mean, because I have kids. And kind of
I love that.
It's why wouldn't you? He's why? Yeah, whatever. I don't understand the other side. But and then I looked up her record in the League of Conservation Voters, which is the nonprofit that tracks similarly how candidates vote on the environment. And she got an F-. And I was like, oh, this bitch is going down. I was like, I was so mad. And I felt so betrayed by this like 65-year-old lady who then, like, I found out her voting record is so foul. It's like she voted against contraceptives for women. She voted against bipartisan bills to curb gun violence because she gets an A with an NRA. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, that's like
Follow the
literally the
money.
only A
Yeah.
she gets. It is with NRA. And I'm like, this bitch is the terrible Korean, terrible grades. Like, I keep on doing, what kind of Korean is she? She's such a disappointment. And I started talking to very quickly. So my husband and I have been very big supporters of the NRDC. We have gone on lobbying trips for them to DC to like talk to Congress people to convince them to vote for the environment. And so when I was like, okay, I'm going to go flip a seat, I think I have a solution. Everybody, I was like, Joseph, I think I just have to go flip a seat. And I contacted the NRDC and I was like, hey, I know you're used to me as a donor, but I'm really interested in running for Congress to flip a seat for our team. And they were like, that's amazing. We hate young Kim. I was like, I know, I heard she's terrible at what we do. And then they connected me with like the DCCC and like all these Emily's List, like a lot of these bigger organizations. And I was like, listen, the rumor is that this seat is a very hard seat to win. I live in LA. I want to flip a seat. There are no seats to flip in LA. There's this Orange County seat. I'm willing to pick up my kids and my life and move there and run, even though legally you don't have to live in the district to run in the district. You only have to live in the state of California. It's like this everywhere. There's so many people Congress people that represent districts that don't live there, that sometimes live in different parts of the state. And
which is fascinating because I thought you had to live in the district that you're running for. Hence why I'm like, I'm not moving to some of these places.
Yeah,
I have no desire to move to the middle of California.
Yeah.
I grew up in Northern
You
California.
don't have to.
That
You don't
seat
have
can be
to.
flipped.
And the thing is, we found out young Kim doesn't live in the district, nor has she ever lived in the district. And so I was like, okay, so like, I'm going to do this. But for me, I'm somebody that's like, I'm not a politician. Like I keep on saying, I'm just a citizen that like formed a plan to not feel like shit for 4 years. Like I literally was like, I hate this feeling. And I was at a point in my career, because I own art galleries. I'm an art dealer. I own art galleries everywhere, and I have a great team that manages all this stuff. And I think I was at a point in my career where I was like getting a little bored too. But I was like the challenge of that looked pale in comparison to this call to action. Which felt like now or never for Democrats. And it still feels like that. And actually, the deeper I get into this process, the more real it is, that this is our last stand. And so the National Democrats were like, this seat is flippable. The numbers are there. But we haven't invested in the seat nationally because there hasn't been a challenger that could go toe to toe with young Kim, which means fundraise. And I was like, well, I'm new to this, but I'm an art dealer, which means that I have a Rolodex of multimillionaires and billionaires across the country. I have like a couple of thousand people that I can call, right? This, like, most people don't show up with that.
Right.
And I was like, they were like, oh yeah, like that is unusual. And I was like, yeah, I know. And that's why I'm ready to fight now. Like, I recognize that that was her advantage because she would dump all of that money into the district with advertising that she was a moderate, when for years she has been voting like a maniac, like a MAGA maniac, because she's a bot politician. And so I was like, okay, if I can just raise enough money in the neighborhood where I can counter her messaging and be like, this is how she's voted. This is how your representative has voted. If I could just get out the facts of who she is, people will start turning on her. And they said, that's exactly right. And I said, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to talk to my husband. I'm going to talk to my kids, and we can do this as a family. My kids are 8 and 11, so they're still like, why are we leaving our school and going to a new school? I was like, Julius and Zelda, I'm going to try to talk to you guys about what patriotism is and what democracy is and how that's important, and how for me as a parent, it's really important for us to model what standing up looks like. And you still might not understand it as an 8 or 11-year-old, but you're sure as hell going to thank me when you're writing your college essays.
I thought you were going to say, like, as you're marrying whoever you want to marry or saying whatever you want to say.
No, I'm like, I'm still a tiger mom.
No, guys. This is going to get you that college admissions.
If we have colleges worth going to at that time, unless, if they're not Trump universities. And so.
Oh my goodness, you're hilarious.
And I was like, listen, because I am a small bit, I employ people in their 20s and 30s. And I am a woman. I am a woman that I'm a working mom. And I feel like there aren't enough millennials that have run and that are in Congress. There are not enough moms. Moms make decisions differently, right? Like when we're making a decision, we're thinking about like the 20 or 40-year horizon because of our kids. Like we know that the decisions we make today will affect them. Most people in Congress don't have kids. There are more men named John in Congress than mothers with kids under the age of 18. Like there's so few of us. And I was like, you know what? Also for me, because I was so, I'm like one of those people, like if I freak out, and I'm always thinking about the future. So I have a little bit of anxiety. Like, I mean, it's like,
who doesn't
but I'm
today?
Such a planner. Yeah. And I'm such a planner. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what is it going to look like in 6 months or like 2 years or 5 years? Because also when you have your own business, you're always forced to think about budgeting in the future. I do exhibition programming, and all of our programming is a year or a year and a half out from the current moment. So I'm always trying to predict what the socioeconomic environment will be and like what kind of messaging people will be receptive to then. And so my head is always like in that direction. And I was like, and I kept on like trying to imagine what 6 months or a year or all of these things were going to look like. And it was the first time in my life where I couldn't predict it. And we are now living through that. And I was like, this is weird. Like I am in my 40s and like I have spent my entire life being able to predict where we were going. And like as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, start planning like by doing educated guesses about like where we're going to be, what the trends are going to be, all of that stuff. And I couldn't see it. And I was like, oh God, we're headed somewhere dark. We are headed into the unknown. And it's true. I mean, we are living in that unknown. It is so volatile. And now that, I mean, okay, so like As you can tell, I have no problem talking forever. If you want to interrupt.
I love it. I love it. Well, I'm curious, like, what was your husband's reaction? You shared what your kids said, like, why do we have to move schools and this and that? And they're obviously younger, but you also had to say, hey, honey, so I think that we should just up and move. And, I'm just going to go run for office. And then when I win, I'm going to be traveling to DC too. So
Yeah.
you're cool with, being here with the kids and stuff
So,
because they've got a while in school.
it turns out in the process of us talking about this, I found out things about my husband that like I didn't know, right? Like, so when I met my husband, he was like 33 and he had worked at MTV and he had sold and he started a cable television network with another executive at MTV and then had sold it to NBC. So I was like, oh, he's always that like techie, like television guy. And this is going to make it sound like Joseph and I don't know each other at all. But like I always just kind of categorized him as a certain type. And, sure, like we would donate to different congressional races here and there if we had a connection to the person that was running. But I never really like saw Joseph until this last election as really like somebody that is so passionate about what was going to happen in this election. And he and his friend, so my husband is Jewish, and he and his friend started a PAC together because so many Jews were leaving the Democratic Party to go to Trump. And it was a PAC dedicated to messaging to Jews in swing states and districts through advertising to keep Jews in the Democratic Party. And he was very concerned about what was happening with the Democratic Party in the split between the Israel-Palestine war and how it destroyed different segments of the Democratic Party. And it still continues to do so today.
Right.
And so he did what he could do, which is, this PAC. And I found out like in the process, because I was like, because he's such a research nerd. He went to Harvard for his undergrad and he was whatever the equivalent is. It isn't called political science, but it's called something else. But he was that major. He's 6 years older than me. So I was like, whatever. And it was that major. And then I found out he was like an intern at the an intern in the Senate, a page in the, he like did all of this stuff during his summers and realized at one point that like politics was not for, like he just got really disgusted by it. And so naturally he's much more like in tune with political discourse than I am also on a much more intellectual level where he is like, he could tell you the difference between like classic liberalism and neoliberalism, like, which I can't. I know what class, it's like,
yeah.
And so for me and him, because Joseph, my husband he works from home. He's an angel investor in media companies. So I was like, well, if we have to, he's just like, whatever, I don't care. I was like, let's do this. Cause he is just as convinced as I am. We probably panicked each other that this is the last day. We were like, oh no.
Yeah.
And we went into like action probably because we had each other to be like, okay, let's do some deductive reasoning on where we are today and where it can go, what the possible outcomes are, and where are we going to be when those outcomes happen. And so I will say we are very fortunate to like have the ability to be like, okay, we're going to move and fight this thing. And I will say I'm not a politician by any means. Like people are like, oh, you're a politician now. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm literally just like I am the mom in the carpool lot. Like I am like literally, if you met me like in line to get ice cream and I was with my kids and you were like, go run for Congress. I'm like, okay, like literally that like really dumb person that was like, I can do it. And I keep on thinking, like, I don't know if I would be right to run in any other race, but I am right to run in this race against Young Kim because she has that Korean American women advantage, and I get to neutralize that, right? I get to neutralize her fundraising ability from the Korean community because the Korean community, I mean, most Koreans and Asians, they don't really care if you're a Democrat or Republican. They care that you're Asian.
Hmm.
They want representation. So, like, people that donate to Andy Kim or Dave Min are also donating to Young Kim. But what they do see, they're like, oh, it's a generational shift. So it's time for a younger generation. And and they want to support that. So it's like so I have that ability. And I also, Young Kim's other two major funding sources are APAC and crypto. And I APAC is not my jam, but my husband's family is a very old Jewish philanthropic family, um, for like over 100 years, right? So like, and they have a lot of legacy projects like for the Jewish community that they've done for a long time, and so we know people like like Jewish people everywhere, and board people, and they have convinced APAC to stay out of the race if
That's
I'm the
amazing.
challenger, right?
That's amazing.
And they have in so little words, like they were like, yeah, we know who she is and we like her. It's like they're like, we are staying away. Um, and and then the crypto. So crypto is interesting because she gets a lot of money from crypto. There is quite a bit of potential for me to neutralize crypto because the art world, the contemporary art world and crypto is very tied together. And it's the same people.
With what are they? The NFG, that
Yeah, like it's
non-fungible
like
tokens, the NFTs. That's what it is.
and it's a lot of the same investors in crypto are same investors in the contemporary art world. So I'm a very unusual candidate that can neutralize potentially a lot of her big funding sources.
You're an
And
unusual human being, an American, because to me, you're sacrificing so much, not only your home, your neighborhood, what your kids know, and I know that I've seen on your Instagram that people are coming after your kids and
yeah,
the fact that they're Jewish, and uh, you're sacrificing a lot for the betterment of each and every one of us, not just your family, but for all of us. You're literally saving democracy in what you're doing.
I appreciate that. I mean, I grew up in Texas as an Asian, so I've experienced a lot worse. I told my kids, I was like, listen, and I am again, millennial, glasses half full. I'm like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I am also just like looking at it as an opportunity to be grateful that I can fight because a lot of people are too scared to fight.
Mhm.
And that is when we all know that our democracy is really fading when we're afraid to fight. That fear and that self censorship that's starting to happen everywhere is so powerful. And I, again, feel very fortunate that I am not afraid. Um, I never said I was smart, but I was, but I'm not afraid. I am actually much more afraid about the alternative than what I am doing now.
I'm completely with you. I'm like,
Yeah.
arrest me if you must. That's fine.
Yeah.
But if I sit here on my laurels and say nothing and do nothing, like, what does that teach our kids as
Yeah,
moms? And what does that leave them in the end?
absolutely. And we have to look at it that you and I got connected because of this journey, right? Like,
Hmm.
and in a moment where there's so much darkness out there and they tell us that we're alone and we are too weak and we can't do anything and that like we are even afraid to utter the word resistance, like that we're finding each other. We're like building together.
Yes.
And that's pretty awesome.
It is. And I'm
that is,
thinking of my Rolodex of all my OC friends because I have
yeah.
friends in the OC and I'm like, oh, I'm going to send them this interview and all of you bitches are going to be voting.
I mean, we got to get every friend that is like, oh, ugh, there's so much going on in politics. I can't even look. Like, we have to get all of them and just be like, listen, we love our public schools. Like right now, I mean, I got the thing today and it was like, for my daughter's school, it was like lunch, breakfast and lunches are free regardless of
Yep. Same. Yeah.
your income. And that is on the chopping block, right? It's like it will start shifting. Even for people that say that politics is not for them. And that's the reality. And I think, again, we just happen to be early on like sounding the alarm, but they'll remember hearing this message. And that's the important thing, is that we have to keep on repeating the message, be like, look out for the signs,
Yes.
because that will start helping them feel what's happening. Because I'm like, I don't blame anybody, but like our inherent nature, especially also for a mom, is to keep our kids safe, and to, when there is darkness coming around, to huddle and to go into child's pose. And it's like, I understand that, but that's not going to actually keep things from happening to you. And I think, and I keep on saying, there's something about, in this era, I do believe it will be the women that end up mobilizing to help save our democracy.
It
It
has
won't
to
be the
be.
men.
Mm-mm.
It won't be the men. And we have to convince every mom that we know of things that we can do, but make it tangible, right? Like, and this is why, for me, talking to a room of people and being like, I know we all feel so much despair. I have figured out what our do is. It's in our backyard. It's in California. It is not foreign land, and it will shape the destiny of our country. And you have a role to play in it. Sign up and write letters. Call people. Like, I'll give you a list. Whatever it is, like, there will be a game plan that rolls out, at least from my team, of like little things we can do together, because we're focused on a district that is right here.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't feel like a battle that's that far away. And it is tangible hope. It's both surgical as far as the pressure we add, and tangible as far as the results we will gain. And also why the Republican Party is like, who is this girl? Get her out of here. It's like,
I love it. And you're totally right. Like, it, to me, it's as small as have those conversations on the soccer field. Like,
yeah.
how is anybody, it baffles me when we're at soccer practice and everyone's just la-di-da. And I'm going, did you see the news? Oh my God. Did you? I actually had a mom say to me the other day, she goes, what's a MAGA? And I went, what? You, the other side. And I am not one. And you don't know what one is? I was very concerned, and I took the moment to educate her, and she goes, okay. Yeah. No, we don't do much politics. I'm like, oh, lady, you're on our soccer team now. So we have to talk about this, because there are people who still apparently don't know.
It's weird. It's really weird that people, I know. And it's, I very recently did a reality TV show pitch, because I was like, how are we going to get this information out to those ladies? And
Real Housewives. There's already an OC.
Yeah.
Just get on that.
And literally, so like the Real Housewives of OC, the first season, is in this neighborhood. It's like the behind the gates.
Then I know where you
like
live.
season is Coda de Casa where I moved to. So like now
So
you know where
Vicky's your neighbor.
and so I was like, but exactly kind of like, how do you reach those people that are like, that only have like, that watch things on Netflix or Hulu, right? And like, that's their entertainment, whatever it is. Like, they're not conditioned anymore to scroll past the news because a lot of people don't have cable. And I'm like, oh, I think it's just doing like a reality TV show that's like on Netflix or whatever, and like about, but and I don't know if like running a congressional campaign is one of them, but it's like make it. I mean, it is kind of like this process is very interesting because I literally come from like the world of galas and fundraisers, like at the art world, which I still I'm still an art dealer. So I like slip into there. And then I go to these like Democratic clubs and like give my stump speech. And they're like people in their 60s that are like,
the ones with the time. And then you're in the
ones
carpool
with the
lane.
time, like really sweet, but like I've had no interaction with people like that for like my entire life, right? But is incredibly heartening. Like I did a speech, I did a panel yesterday, and I was like, I have to thank everybody here because what we don't realize is that a Democratic club is a public, like physical space where we get together and we see each other and we see that we're all concerned citizens. We don't have that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that kind of, still having these grassroots communities and knowing that they're there and that they're worried. They're old. You're like, why are you worried? You're like old, but like, I'm like, why are you worried about climate change?
Because they have grandkids.
They have grandkids. Exactly. And so, but again, like, how do you draw people in? How do you make it entertaining? How do you make it into, and Trump mastered that. He made it into theater. He made it into reality TV. Like Kristi Noem, like, God bless her, terrible human being, but like figured out how to like get people talking, and it's literally like the things that we hate the Republicans for is they're the exact reasons why we're losing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, I'm going to talk to the reality. I'm going to be like, we got to do a reality TV show about the congressional races. So people are like, ooh, I know what I'm talking about now. Like, I know what you're talking about now.
Behind the scenes. I like it.
I like it. Because also, like, literally, the Democrats have lost every other form of power. The only thing we have is soft and cultural power. We have LA. We have Hollywood. I'm like, why aren't we leaning into that? What are you guys doing? Like, that's my message.
I love this. Coming soon to a Netflix account near you.
But that's literally like the things that I'm thinking about every day, to be like, how am I going to continue ringing the alarm of what's happening and giving people a tangible face and voice and district where we can focus. And if we can just then replicate that in a lot of seats that we can flip, we can do something. And Trump is afraid that we can do something. We can see it. I mean, like, it's actually quite a relief because I was convinced that that the next election wasn't going to be free and fair in like with like whatever. I mean, he's trying, right? Like trying to get rid of mail-in voting, the voting machines, like like he is trying, and he will certainly call a stop the steal and bring in federal troops on seats that are flipping in real time. Like he'll manufacture some sort of thing. 1,000%. But the fact that he's worried makes me feel better.
Yeah.
And the fact that the Republicans are sweating it and attacking makes me feel better. And I'm like, yeah, we still have power here. We still have a voice, and we will still fight. And that's the big takeaway, is that like we still have, and again, I'm like just one person. I'm just like one random mom out there that is like,
This has to be your slogan.
one random mom. So my slogan is really team normal, right? Like I want to represent, because I do think I talk to so many people, and because like literally most of my day is calling people in my Rolodex, fundraising, talking to just people on the street. Everybody just wants fucking normalcy. And I'm like, we're going to do team normal. 80% of us in the middle. Like, if you don't know what normal is, then you're not on team normal. It's like, if you have to be like, what is normal? And you're like, yeah, you're not on it. And I think, because we know as like normal people, like
yeah.
yeah, when we talk to MAGA or like anybody on the extreme left, like for me, I come from a background studying political history. Like I don't think the kind of socialism people are imagining on the far left, is going to bring the results that they actually want. But both MAGA and both the far left, both the far right, are both symptoms of desperation, of things not working, and things not working for them, and feeling like nobody's listening, right?
Yeah.
Because that's where you get that let's burn it down. And those things definitely need to be addressed. But in the meantime, I just want things like a little bit more normal and functional to be able to address them. Because I don't think like tearing everything down is a way to fix, like, again, like
It doesn't all need to be torn down. Like
yeah,
things,
exactly.
there are certain
But
things
like,
that are working. They're just
yeah, like
fine.
let's renovate. I know you.
Yeah.
Let's renovate.
We don't need to move from LA to Orange County. We just need to renovate the house.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. Just totally fine.
It'd be like less expensive and like, sure, we'll make some compromises, but it'll be faster.
Yes. Oh my goodness. You're hilarious.
And so like, I keep on being like, okay, team normal. Like team normal is, do we like pedophiles? Yes or no?
Yeah, it's a big no. Yeah. Our mayor ran on common sense. And it's so funny because you're like, common sense is really lacking these days. And so is normalcy. Like,
yeah. And it's
where
the same
are those
thing. Like,
people?
I mean, yeah. My other slogan is common sense is our common ground. Because I'm like ready to talk to anybody that's like left of MAGA. That is like, and it will be necessary for me, because in order to flip a seat, you have to take a little bit, more of a centrist. You can't flip a seat
And be on the far
Everybody
extreme.
wants to be like Mamdani. I'm like, do you realize that he was in a Democratic primary with only Democrats? Like, do you realize that that is not reflective of what we have to do in the next phase to save our democracy? In the next phase to save our democracy, we need very solid center-left people that present as normal, that present as someone you can talk to.
Like an everyday mom.
Yeah. Doesn't have that weird glaze over their eyes when you're like trying to talk logic.
Oh my goodness. Orange County's lucky. Get those Real Housewives to come for a fundraiser. And
I know.
Andy, if you're listening, just film that, please.
Democracy's up to you. It's down to you.
The Real Housewives of Democracy.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. There's our new pitch. Yeah.
I think there's something there. I'm glad you see it.
Oh, I see it. 'Cause I'm a Housewives junkie. You have no idea.
Yeah. Sure. Oh my gosh, you have to visit. It's so interesting
Oh,
being here.
yes,
Uh,
and then leave.
yeah. I mean, it's funny because I grew up in Plano, Texas, which is very similar in suburban vibe.
Mhm.
And it's very religious too, because I grew up evangelical Christian, Southern Baptist. I went to Christian school for 13 years. I am not, I mean, I'm happily, I'm more of an atheist, but when I like want to try to fit in, I say I'm an agnostic. But and then I married a Jewish guy. And it's like, so I'm all over the place
You
as
just
far
fit
as
all of the boxes. I'm
just
experienced in them all.
literally, like, there is a joke going on social media that the Democratic Party made an Esther Kim to beat young Kim. It's like, because I check all those random boxes of like, and I do think, again, I can't beat every person out. I wasn't made for that. I was made very specifically, but I keep on saying, like, when you get behind political candidates across the country for this thing that we're going to do in the next year, look at the district, look at who's they're running up against, and try to figure out what kind of candidate is an ideal candidate for that district. It might not be your ideal candidate,
Mhm.
but you live in LA or San Francisco. It's like, but I keep on saying this to Democrats out there. I'm like, can we start messaging to think smarter about what our ultimate interests are, right? Like, our ultimate interest is to win back the House. Like, I have people coming at me on social media being like, you're not progressive enough for me. And I'm like, you don't live here. Um, first of all. Secondly, I want to win. Like, that is the number one goal, is that we have to win. Like,
Mhm.
as Democrats, we have to figure out how to win. And that means understanding flippable seat by flippable seat, what that math looks like, what that ideal person made in a lab to beat the incumbent looks like. Mine just happened to be a retirement age Korean lady. And so, again, like, with a growing population, over 50% now of Asian American and Latinos. And you have to look. It's like a labor union, like, Caucasian kid in his 25 is not going to win over these people,
Right.
right? Like, uh, again, it's like fight fire with fire. Like, there's a reason why that person is in their seat. Let's do the math backwards. Because in order to flip a seat, you have to, at least for me, I have to win the Democrats, the independents, which is a growing group of people, like almost
Right.
30%, right? A lot of them are traditional Republicans that no longer, so you have to message like for them, and then plus 5% of Republicans. So you got to get all of that in order to win. And so, how do you then start messaging that that your water's fine? You can come play in here. It's like, because, and those are the things that I've had to start thinking about, because I know that when people, especially like a lot of the Caucasians that vote Republican, are 65 and over in this district,
Mhm.
which means that they are more likely than not classic Reagan Bush Republicans. They've just been voting down the
Yep,
line.
yep. With the party.
And yeah. And I will present as woke or whatever because I'm a woman of color. I have an art gallery that represents artists from every kind of category, and very proudly so. So, like, in order to counteract that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna start doing more photos of me, or I do have to release some videos of me doing barrel racing because I know how to do barrel race. Grew up in Texas.
Just a random fact about Esther.
Yeah. So I'm like doing that. My logo is actually an adapted logo from the 84 Bush Reagan logo. Because I'm like sending a dog whistle to like older people to be like, this person's maybe not that scary. And also, and I'm having to message to the immigrant community, like telling them about my immigrant story of my parents and how I was on the phone at 6 negotiating with the electrical company because nobody in my house spoke English, right? Like, and like trying to figure out how to get the biggest group possible together and unite them at a time where people are very clearly dissatisfied with young Kim and people are protesting by the hundreds. Oh my gosh. Well, why is kind of, oh, okay. Oh, I need a Zoom. I need to go on a Zoom.
Yeah. That's okay. We've had, this is awesome. I think that you're like the test case that the DNC needs to study more of because you get it. And I think so many don't.
Well, yeah, I mean, and God, I just, hopefully this kind of messaging will start getting out that like we need to focus, like, and we need to have a template of how to focus. And yes, you're right. Like the DNC needs to provide that template and they're not right now.
Yeah. Well, we're going to give it to them in the form of Netflix if we have to.
Yes.
You're a delight. I am so excited we got to connect. Can you share quickly where everyone can find you, donate to your campaign, and follow you?
Yes, thank you. Okay, so you can follow me on all forms of the, like, so, you know, X, it's all the same. It's at Esther Kim Varet. And my last name is Varet, rhymes with carrot, just remember. And then you can go to estherkimvaret.com, which is the website, and it has some like policy stuff on there, blah, blah, blah. A lot of that stuff, which I put up there in January, feels very stale now because like the world just continued to explode. And you're like, like women's reproductive rights. Like, I'm like, protect the Constitution, you know.
They're all still a thing.
They're all still a thing. I know, but it's just like, it just keeps on, the problems just keep on getting bigger and bigger and bigger and more existential. So, but yeah, find me on any of those platforms. And I will say, like, the one that I am like physically managing the most is probably my Instagram. Because I'm a millennial. And like that's where I put like more of my like heartfelt, like, this is like some gnarly thing that I'm feeling. And then my X is more of my policy. Everybody's like, where's your policy? I was like, you're a millennial, get on X. Like, but yeah, so I hope to catch you guys there. And if anybody wants to do a fundraiser out there, I will be there to talk in person. If it's just a meet and greet, I am there.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I have to say that after this conversation, I am so inspired by the fact that Esther is not only a businesswoman, a mom, a wife, but she is taking action. It is a big deal to move your entire family to go run for Congress. I can't emphasize that enough. And she is doing it. Let her be the example, that inspiration for each and every one of us to use our voices. You don't have to go move your family and go run for Congress, but you can start speaking up. You can make sure that you are not only voting, but you are promoting people who are doing this, like Esther. I don't live in her district, but that doesn't matter. I can talk about her. I can follow her. I can encourage her. I can donate to help make this happen. It is up to each and every one of us to help make sure that we save democracy. So I hope you enjoyed Esther's story and learning more about what's going on behind the campaign.